We're back. How you doing this wonderful evening tonight? Today's actually Veterans Day, isn't it?
It
So I
is
wanna
Veterans Day. Happy
thank you for all
Veterans
the
Day.
veterans out there. Thank you for your service. My father was veterans from the the Korean War and everything, so I grew up around you know a lot of stuff. And so, Jenny, how was your weekend?
Anthony, hi.
Hi. How was your weekend?
It was good. How was yours?
Wonderful.
Tell me about yours.
I had to lock up my place in Poconos.
Oh, you were really?
I winterized it. Yeah, I had to winterize it. Me and my son. My son came up. We only stayed for one day. I'm glad because the next day it started raining. Now it's snowing. So I'm glad we're not up there.
A lot of snow
You know?
today. People complaining.
Yeah. I haven't seen nothing over here. So thank you so far.
Yeah. Oh,
But
I
I
like
just want to
snow.
announce what we're doing this weekend. You want to give this weekend we're
Yeah,
going to be at Speedwell. And then we'll
I'd love to.
okay.
So yeah, this weekend this coming weekend we're going to be together. You're going to be stuck with me in a freezing cold factory all night investigating. Exactly. So this weekend, Anthony and I are going to be at a local historical site hosting a public investigation with some of our closest friends. Kimm unfortunately won't be with us, but we have other good friends with us that night. So in Morris County, New Jersey, if you're in New Jersey, come on out, check out our Facebook page, still tickets available. And also, this is exciting. Speaking of Kimm, we have the grand premiere of our documentary that we just filmed recently this year at a local antiques emporium, debuting on Friday night in Boonton, New Jersey.
I won't be in there, so
I know, but you'll
it
you'll
was
see it
overlooked.
afterwards. You'll see it on,
They didn't want the old fat guy.
on TV. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not good on the air. I don't look good on the air. So
Stop it.
they put
Stop
me on
it.
TV.
But
TV makes you look 10 pounds fatter. So I would
is
look
that right?
fat. I don't want to look fat.
No. Anyway, so Kimm's in it and lots of our other friends. So this is going to be exciting. We've been waiting a long time for this to come out. So
I'm looking forward to see it.
In Search of Hauntings is the series, and this one is at a local antique store. Be good.
Chicken Bobby.
Okay. So what's going on out there, friends? Episode 57.
Episode 57. You believe this?
I do.
57. Wow.
It's my age.
Yeah. Not
Pretty
mine.
cool.
I'm still a little bit older than that.
No, stop.
Yeah.
Not you.
I'm ancient. I remember I used to when I started ghost hunting, it was for fossils of dinosaurs and
That's right.
and the caveman. I couple cavemen and stuff like that. So it was interesting.
There were no EVPs. There were just like hieroglyphics.
Yeah. The ghosts used to write, carve into their rocks what they had to say.
Oh my gosh, no. But you are tonight. You are the badass ghost hunter. So, and this is going to be a great show tonight. I know. See, before you can make fun of me, I already put fangirl after my name. So go ahead, say it.
Yeah. Tonight we're gonna have Jennie, like usual, introduce.
Yeah.
And the guest, and I'm gonna have Jennie, the fangirl, introduce the guest. So go ahead.
I'm gonna be fangirling like I never fangirled tonight because I am a fan.
So, okay. Let's introduce our guest.
I can't wait. Sure. So tonight we have a wonderful guy tonight. We have a paranormal investigator, an author, and I'm going to be talking about his latest book, and demonologist, and all-around psychology guru, James Anito. Please welcome.
And a friend, and a good friend.
I said that first. A great guy and a good friend.
Yeah, good friend. Here he is.
Hey.
Here he is.
How you guys doing?
Hey.
Hi.
She really built you up there, huh?
Yeah, well,
She did. I don't know. Now I'm gonna deflate and
Now
suck.
you got to live
So
up to you. You got to live up to it now. You
yes.
know,
I don't know about that.
you
you
got to
got
be
to
the
live up to it.
guru.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that, but I'll take it.
No, you
I'll
are.
just start. I'll just cross my legs on a rock and the whole show.
It's like,
That would fit. You'd fit right in. Trust me. This
you
is a
got 2
wacky
hours to
show.
make up things, so it's great. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yes.
excited. I've known at least I known Anthony a little longer, but I know Jenny, and have had the pleasure to know you guys for many years, and
I know you.
it's at least over a
Maybe,
decade. It
Is
has to
it
be close
no,
to
it
it.
must have been. I would say about 12, 15 years.
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Yeah, I
probably. Yeah.
have. Well, just to show when one of the things we
Oh,
did.
he's got
I'm gonna show a
evidence.
picture. I got proof here.
He's got proof. Look out.
Remember
Oh
that
my
one?
goodness.
Oh, that was New Hampshire, right?
No, that was the Helderman Mansion.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, look at me.
Yeah,
That's before a couple couple double quarter pounders and age.
and look at me.
I know, right? What happened to you? No,
Oh,
just
Look
kidding.
what happened. So,
look at your dark hair.
Yeah,
yeah,
Wow.
stud.
that's so. We that was what 2000 and I don't know 16, 17.
2000.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, that would be 9 years, right? Give or take
Maybe
8
before
years.
that.
9 years. Yeah,
Eight,
my math.
10 years. Yeah, so I think it was maybe even before that. I don't remember, but still, we know each other a long time.
Yeah, that's why I said decade's always a nice number because
Yeah,
it's either plus or minus 10
yeah.
years, but plus or minus.
Around 10 years. I love
That's a
it.
long. That's a long time. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Mary.
I just
Um,
feel like I've known him for 100 years.
for
Who,
me,
Anthony or me?
Anthony,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
well,
it
we
feels
feel
like
like we've known each other for 100 years. Just ask him.
yeah. Well,
well, he
he's
is a dinosaur, so right.
yeah. I'm
That's
the
for sure.
dinosaur. It's like
That should be your next shirt.
Dinosaurus
Dinosaur
Rex
goes hunting.
Paranormal. Yeah,
Paranormal dinosaur.
Paranormal dinosaur. There
badass.
you go.
I mean, it's
I
better
love
than badass than
Badass paranormal dinosaur.
badass. That's it.
Yeah.
I
So
think it's funny that Mary Beth says she's got to go refill her beverage. It's going to be that kind of night.
yeah, you can see it's
Gotta
going to be
go-
already.
Gotta
It's going to be a
refill
fun
my
night, guys. Going to be a fun night. Anybody in the audience, please subscribe to the network. We're still trying to get to 1,000. We got 4 more subscriptions. So if you guys can hit that up,
Four
please.
more, really?
Yeah, 4 more. So that's it. So what's
So
up? How you been doing? I mean, what have you been up to? Because I see a couple of things on Facebook, but
Yeah. Just been being a family man. I disappeared for 10 months, as we kind of loosely talked about early behind the
mhm,
scenes. But just taking care of my family, focusing on work, focusing on my master's studies right now in psychology. So quite busy. But then for probably 15 years, people have been telling me to write a book, but I do have a book coming out on that topic in
mhm,
2026. But
nice.
lately I've just been so involved with psychology. Like, of course, I'm in the master's program and it was bachelor's, but I've always had a fascination in social science and science in general. So I said, I want to bleed the two topics. I don't see it too much done. Like, if you look in the academic sense, it's done a lot, but in the paranormal sense, how it's applied to the paranormal,
mhm,
it hasn't really been done. So I wanted to be one of the first people to do so and implement it. And so in those 8 months, 10 months that I was gone, doing all those things, I was like, I'm going to pull the trigger. This is the time. If I do come back to the paranormal and social media, I'm going to have these uh, and kind of like my vest ready to pull out and come back strong. And I feel like every time I've stepped away, I've come back with a lot of deep introspection, clarity, and
mhm.
something different. And I think the book was entryway to that. I like to evolve myself and get better and learn more. So yeah, between those three things, and then of course writing 2 books, I've been quite busy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, and you took 10 months, and now you come back full swinging.
That's all. That's how I've always lived, my man. I grew up with a crappy past, and nothing's taking me down. Then, so
Mhm.
nothing's gonna take me down unless it's higher power or some bus that I walk out in the street and
Mhm.
accidentally
Oh,
get hit.
jeez.
But
Oh, don't say.
I always try to put my mind to something. Yeah, I feel like I could always say I want to write a book, and I've attempted to, and things have gone wrong, but I was like, this time I'm gonna do it, and then I put my mind to it, and now
Yeah.
I have a book out that just came out on Halloween, and it's a lot of weight off. Yes, right. Yes, a lot of weight off my shoulders. Now
I've
the
been
stress
waiting to show this.
the stress is on the
Very good.
second book. It's basically 95% done.
Oh,
And
wow.
a lot of it's just editing and waiting for the forward and any final touches, and then go through the I like to say the full editing process where uh, I read it and somebody else reads it over and over again until I'm sick of it, and then that means I'm good with it. So, but yeah, I'm
Is it
excited.
an audio? Somebody's
It,
asking the audio book yet?
It's working on it right now. Right now, like it's still selling very slowly. I'm starting to get my name back in it,
Hmm.
in the field, and people know I'm back. So not everybody knows the book is out there,
Hmm.
and who never knows? It might not sell well. And I'm not. That's not an expectation. I never wanted to make money, or I wanted, even if it was a handful of people that picked it up and learned something from it. I
Hmm.
did my due diligence in life of giving other
right.
people some knowledge, or even asking more questions. But it will be an audible eventually, working with somebody. But when somebody dedicates their time, you got to pay them. And thankfully have a great job, but I have a lot of bills, and I have 2 kids,
Sure.
and I
Sure.
go to school.
You got the
So it's
baby.
like
Yeah, you got the kids.
Yeah.
I gotta take care of the person that's willing to do the audible version. Like me saying it, I can't pronunciate a lot of things correctly, so I can type them.
Join the club.
Uh,
I was going to
so
say, have Anthony do it. Can you
oh god,
imagine?
oh
So,
no,
yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Come on.
what do you mean? I
Come
seen
on.
the ghost. I seen the ghost.
I
Hey,
seen the ghost.
you know
But
what the
so
ghost is.
But yeah, audible
More
version.
than what?
My timeline for it is probably going to be sometime early 2026. It'll
Perfect.
come out as an audible, and then that'll kind of give a little bit more life for the next book. Probably that's going to come out mid 2026. Might come out sooner
Perfect.
if I get impatient and everything's all together. I might be impatient and release it. But really, the second book, I'm trying to get a publisher this time. Um, you know. Uh, as much as I liked self-publishing and it was a little stressful,
Hmm.
um, I don't want to have to control the marketing and getting it in all the stores. Like you publish on Amazon, you can get in Barnes and Nobles, you can get in Walmart, you can do
Yeah.
whatever you want, just like a normal publisher can. It's just a lot of legwork, and that's a little bit too much for me. If I was a little older,
Mhm.
and my kids were a little older, I had more free time, then yeah,
Sure.
it
Yeah.
would be it would be easy to do, but not in this point in time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The
No, I gotcha.
Audibles. I'm dyslexic, so it's better for me to listen to an Audible book than
Yeah.
to actually read a book.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's what I
Anthony, just call
enjoy.
me one night or come over for some pizza and I'll read it to you.
Yeah.
I
We,
was going to say.
yeah, that's right. I know I had, the story, got to bring that up. Why the pizza?
Yeah.
We were doing the Conjuring House, and it was a bunch of us, and he heard we were down in Rhode Island.
And this
And
is
he
during
says,
COVID.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And he says, "Come on over. I'll make you guys pizza."
Oh, I heard this whole story.
Yeah, we went over his
And
house.
it's
He
in
made
the
homemade
forward as
pizza.
well.
Yes, he made homemade pizza and was like, "This is great." And it's not just me. We had about 15 people there.
Oh, it was a lot of people,
We
especially
had
during COVID, like where a lot of people were like hesitant to get. I was just like, "Come on over."
yeah,
Everybody was dying to be together at that
and,
point.
and yeah, it was like, and we went over his house. We had the pizzas and stuff like that. Then we went back to the hotel that night, and then we ended up doing the Conjuring House. And that time you couldn't come for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It was because we told you come on down,
Yeah.
you know. But it was good pizza. So anybody wants to learn it, exchange with his recipe.
There you go.
Yay. You know,
Yeah,
you
and
want
this
to,
is legendary. I think I've heard at least 3 or 4 people talk about this pizza.
yeah, everybody's it's pizza. Hey, everybody
Like I
mentions your
said, it's in the foreword, the pizza maker.
pizza.
I love it.
That's
I
Yeah.
love it.
that's my third book, How to Make a Good Pizza.
There you
Yeah.
go. It's a yeah, I
Instead
love
of
it.
chicken soup for
And
the soul, it'll be pizza for the soul.
you can interview me for one of the chapters, like how good your
Hey,
pizza was.
hey,
It
yeah.
was so good. I
It's
only have
pizza
one
and the
slice because
paranormal.
everybody grabbed the slice, and he didn't expect it that many people.
Well, yeah. So I think the thing is, what's missed about it too is funny is I got it from a local pizza shop. I got one from a local pizza shop,
Mm,
um, that is pretty well known, and like I made a pizza too because or made two pizzas.
mhm.
I forgot how many pizzas I made, but I think I made two. But I
Yeah.
ordered one or two from the other place, so I had like 4 pies, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, but everybody's like, "Oh, yours is better," and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, yeah, this is good.
Nice.
Stroking my pizza ego.
Yay! So
The recipe book will be
pizzas
out
and beers. It
next.
was a great night. It was a good night. Great night before investigating. It was
Oh yeah.
very
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, it's a must. You have to have pizza. Why do you think I
Yeah.
hang around Italian people?
So, and it was
Hey.
like he heard we're just in town, and he invited us. So which I thought was so nice. You know, that was great that you did that.
That is
So,
really sweet. Yeah,
thank
love
you.
it.
Hey, you
Thank
know,
you. Hey,
hey, anybody's family to me, even, so
familiar.
anybody's always welcome, and you guys are always more welcome back. So,
Yeah.
See, you
Thank
heard
you.
him say it, right? So next time I'm in New Hampshire, I'll
Yeah.
be like, hey.
Yeah. Well,
hey, hey,
she
hey,
could
more
eat
than welcome.
pizza, but meat she can't. You know, she can eat the pizza, but if you have meat on it, she has to graze in your
Oh
front yard
gosh, here we
and,
go.
and do your lawn.
Why, you
Here we
vegetarian?
go.
She's a
Yeah.
vegetarian.
Oh, I
And he
can
never
make a
lets me
mean
forget
veggie
it.
pizza. I can make a mean veggie pizza. Don't worry about that.
Oh,
I
I
actually,
bet you
I
can.
love vegetarian food. As much as I talk crap about it when I was younger, and until I had it, I was like, oh gosh, this is one of my favorite restaurants. Is a vegetarian restaurant.
Yep.
Look at that.
But yeah, no, yeah, I hate to admit it
See that,
too, but
Anthony?
it is good stuff. If
Mhm.
you take it out of your head, like it's come a long way, right? I'm a cuisine kind of guy. I love like
Okay.
one of my goals is always to open a food truck and travel the country cooking people for people. But oh
That's a
gosh,
good goal. I
yeah,
like that goal.
vegan pizza. Oh God, there's a restaurant. If you're down this way ever, it's called Plant City, and it's a restaurant that has 4 different restaurants in it. One's like Mexican, one's Italian, one's a burger place, and then one's gosh, I can't think of the other places, but I've tried every single one of them, and oh, it's phenomenal. You never know that you're not eating meat when it comes to their meatballs,
Right.
right? It's
Mm.
great.
See,
Well, next
Anthony?
next time, well, the Conjuring House, we won't be going to that anytime soon.
I don't think so.
So, but
Well, we can
I know
go,
there's
but
other locations down by you that are good. You know, the
yeah,
activity. So if you want to send us some info, maybe we'll come down to one of those locations.
there you
Yeah,
go.
definitely. I definitely can make that happen for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I
You
love
know.
it.
So we
Um,
ask one question all the time on the show,
yeah.
and it's a basic question: how did you get started with your field and everything? So I know you do paranormal. I know you're demonologist, and I know you're a bunch of things. So how did you get started with all that?
To sum it up, because I sometimes I go on too much of a tangent with my life because it just to me it's meaningful as much as I
Hmm.
hate talking about myself. But basically, to give a quick summary, is that I got into the paranormal because I had questions about a higher power, what I call God. I'm a Christian,
Hmm.
but I'm very eclectic as well in the same sense. But so I was raised in a traumatic situation and went through a tough childhood, so I
Hmm.
questioned, of course, religion, and those questions brought me into like anthropology and, of course, paleontology and ufology and uh, uh, cryptozoology, and basically kind of opened the floodgates to many different branch ways of like maybe these have an element of connection to God, especially ghosts and angels and demons.
Hmm.
Really though, kind of what pulled the trigger fully, close to the age, because I got into this field at the cusp of 15, so like late 14s, early 15s.
Oh,
And so a couple of years earlier, my aunt, no longer my aunt, but aunt by marriage, um, showed me a picture from their family vacation, and most people in my family knew I was interested. I was such a book nerd, and I love talking about like troglodytes and stuff like that.
yeah.
At that time, I was a Darwinist, so I loved evolutionary biology, and
Mm,
so like they knew I was into it, but they took a picture outside of this bed and breakfast, or I forget what location it was, but not like a haunted place. Supposedly, it was a historic place, so there
Hmm.
likely could be a chance of it. But she showed me a picture, and there was like this dark figure in the window that had no figure or characteristics. So that kind of was like, now somebody in my family showing me something, and I can't explain that. I was young, I wasn't fully
Hmm.
developed, but really that's kind of what got me into investigating a couple of years later. And then Ghost Hunters came out, and they're from Rhode Island, and I live in Rhode Island.
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, no, it was a collective of things that got me into the paranormal. As far as the demonology, I always have had a love for theodicies, which is good versus evil, or good and evil.
Hmm.
Um, I love the concept of evil, like the idea, like not the idea of it, like the applicable aspect of it. Like evil sucks, right? But I
right.
like understanding why people do evil deeds, why there could be evil spirits. So that's kind of what led me down that path. But really, what catapulted it was that I founded my own group, and for a period of time we did things, and then I became acquainted with Carl Johnson,
Hmm.
who at that
Oh,
time was the co-founder of Beyond the Veil Paranormal, Dina Palazzini. And I'm still a techie. If I showed you my computer setup, you'd probably like crap yourself. But but
You have
so
to show your computer. I'll do that on my own.
so, but I went to vocational school for Cisco networking, and in college, before I went in the military into the army, I was in school for programming, computer programming, and got associates in computer programming. So I had a big tech round, but so Carl Johnson had an availability for a tech manager for his group, and I took it.
Mhm.
And I
no.
always looked up to him and his brother Keith. They were on Ghost Hunters the first two seasons.
Yep, yep.
But,
Well,
I
um,
remember.
plus, I
Yep.
know both of them, so they
and
did
Oh,
the
yeah.
so,
content house with us.
yeah. So, that latching on to him and learning from him and doing some cases with him in my
Hmm.
time frame with Beyond the Veil is really catapulted the demonology form. But at that same time, I was also a pastoral assistant at my local church, and then got into deliverance ministry. So when I got into deliverance ministry, and kind of at the tail end of working with Carl, I bleeded the two and made it demonology and ministry work.
Mhm.
Long story. I know a
No,
lot of
I love it.
holes. A lot of holes
No.
in between, because I don't want to take an hour talking about myself. It's hard to explain, but yeah, that's what kind of got me into it. Now 30.
Gotcha. No, that
Um,
it's a big question. I know.
yeah,
Like, especially if you start at 15, it's like, and now
Yeah.
you're 25.
I'm
So,
I'm
yeah.
35,
Oh,
so I've been in the field for 20 years.
right. It's
Yeah,
a lot. It's a
Hmm.
lot. And you don't know where to start. But that was really good. I didn't know about the computers.
yeah, very big techie.
So
Yeah.
See,
we had
I
a
learned that.
question about investigating haunted bodies of water. So
Um.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
just want to. I'll answer this one. I'll let you too. But haunted bodies of water. I have investigated lakes and stuff like that, and yes, there could be activity at certain water. I've been on the water and got activity on a boat. So
Hmm.
yes, it could be. So you want to
Jen-
answer
so
that too?
the lake itself?
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that was interesting.
Jenny, you go. Ladies next. Lady should have been first there.
No, I was kind of trying to clarify the question. Like the lake itself is haunted or something at the lake, or you know what I'm saying?
The
Yeah.
lake is, I mean,
The water itself?
I know of things like in they had a thing in Alaska, one of the lakes, and a town was actually flooded out, and the body the lake is on still over the town, and they
Oh,
actually dropped mics into the water, and think X they dropped mics in the water, and they were getting voices and EVPs from
oh,
underwater.
right. I did hear
So
this.
yeah, I believe they could be because look at all the deaths at sea.
Yeah.
So there must
Okay.
be something.
Yeah, I've investigated bodies of water too. One of the most famous near us, the Great Lakes, or the Finger
Mhm.
Lakes as well. There's been
Yep.
accidents in the Great Lakes outskirts, the Finger Lakes in New York. There's some local lakes or surroundings. But what you kind of said, one of the things that most investigators, at least when my questionnaire sheet is, do you live near a body of water? Because water has been known to intensify
Mhm.
as a natural sense for a haunting. And of course, at the end of the day, we are all made up of water. The planet's over three quarters water.
Yes.
And so water is pretty substantial in everyday life. And so,
Yeah.
yes, I have adopted bodies of water. And I also feel like that, like he was saying, like that town, but, people that drive in lakes can't escape their cars, people that are thrown in there by
Mm,
serial killers. A lot of heinous things happen in bodies or around bodies of water, and that
Mhm.
could help amplify that haunting.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think salt water is more because there's energy, and since there's salt in water, the salt water holds more, and I feel it holds a lot more because of the energy of
Yeah.
the salt in the water, and fresh water does it also, but salt water seems to hold more of the. I would feel
Yeah.
spiritual,
It's quite
and
possible for sure. Yeah. I would love to be out in the ocean and come upon one of those ghost ships people have
Oh,
discovered.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I,
Imagine that.
I,
My friend has a boat, and he used to get me on it, and all I did was chum the water, if you know what I mean. Um, and
yeah.
but I had activity on the water. I mean, I thought I seen somebody standing on the water the one time, and it wasn't Jesus. You know?
Yeah.
Now that would be something.
Yeah, it
Really?
wasn't Jesus. And if it was, I wouldn't be talking about it now. He might be calling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But I thought I seen somebody standing on the water. But then again, you never know because with the reflections of everything with the sun,
Yeah.
the water, and the waves.
Yeah.
So you know, I thought I seen a woman standing there, but I didn't mention it to my friends and stuff because I you know, see,
Sure.
I have my doubts also, and I try to debunk what I see all the time
Yeah.
too.
Well, there's
So
ghost pirate ships and the Flying Dutchman, right? Ghost ships and things
Yeah.
like that have been around
um,
forever.
what
Yep.
the was it the it was the 50th anniversary of the what's something the Edmund Fitzgerald, I think it
Oh,
was,
yes, the wreck.
the wreck
Yeah.
on the Salt Lakes. That's where you know, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I've also heard to where almost the Titanic sank, ships out
Yeah.
there hearing the horns or the kind of the engine going, and there's nothing there as well.
Yeah,
There's lots of stories throughout different cultures of ghost ships or
yeah.
Yes.
being seen
The
on the
lady of
lake, on
the
the water.
lady of the lake and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You always hear
Yeah.
stories like that. So back to you. You are the
Yeah.
guest, and I like to know more. Well, I
Sure.
know as much as I do about you too. So, um, but what made you want to write a book? I know people push you to it because I've been trying to get my a book together for years, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but what made you start writing a book and stuff?
Like I said, kind of in summary, is that I think this topic specifically that I wrote about hasn't really been expounded upon on too much in the
Mhm.
in the paranormal field. Like in academia, yes, you have like people like Chris French when anomalistic psychology, and then you have parapsychology, but
Yep.
nothing written in the tone of how I wrote it, like how it's I did my best to keep it academic but accessible for the either the lowest of readers to the most intellect of readers, and I try to keep it so somebody learns something from it or even takes a question out of it. Like I said, people don't need to love it; they can hate it. But I'm
Mhm.
assuming if you hate it and you read it, you're gonna walk away with something from it, and that's all I cared about. So that's
Mhm.
why I wanted to write that book. And plus, focusing on psychology right now,
Mhm.
I think it was what was fresh in my mind, and I do have a great love for it. It's probably in the top tier of loves I have for specific interests. So I thought, I wanted to integrate that love, the marriage of love, of skepticism, belief, science, um, all together. And that's, I think, people will like it or love it or maybe dislike it when they read it. But that's what made me want to write this book. I do have the history of demonology coming out in 2026 that has been done before in some form of fashion in academia as well. Nothing that I know of, like beside Rosemary and Ellen Guiley, who did Encyclopedia of Demons, and Michelle Belanger, who
Yep.
wrote Dictionary of Demons. But mine has a little bit of a different approach how I wrote that. But the psychological dimensions of paranormal, it was I think something needed in the paranormal field to be read
Yeah.
by certain people, just to be less subjective and be more objective in their approach.
Mhm.
Right. And I appreciated that so much. I mean, like you said, you can tell I liked it. Look, you can see my highlighting and
No,
handwriting in it. Like I
that's why I
loved
brought
it.
that up because I
Yeah,
know Jenny is itching to start
I
asking
am
questions.
dying to start talking about it.
She's
Yeah,
like,
I've been holding it back. No, really, I loved it, and I was so impressed with how much you covered, and just enough of each thing. I mean, it's such a huge topic. You could write probably a book on each chapter in this book, right? So
Yeah.
you just you put just enough in. But and I actually even quoted you on a couple things. I wrote down some of the things that you wrote as sort of quotes that really appealed to me. And as somebody with a science background,
Yeah.
I was so in love with it. I really was. I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's what
and,
I
I-
think.
and I'm glad you said that because like my analogy for this book is that imagine paying to go to a buffet and eat as much as you can, walk out being happy and full. That's
Yep.
what the book is about.
Yep.
It's not to overstay its welcome. Like yes, like you said, I could probably have like a 400-page like textbook
Yes.
in front of you right now, but I
Right.
kept it to like 160 pages. And I
It's
thought that
perfect.
I thought it was like you said, and I think
It's
I'm glad to
perfect.
hear from somebody else.
No, it's perfect. I mean, you first of all to cover the history, right? You just give like three or four really good examples, and in each case, of what you're illustrating, and that's enough, really.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really good, and they're good examples.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely. And I think what I did, for people not to think I'm making the paranormal taboo again, is I try to keep it as open ended as possible. Like I said
Yes.
from the get go in the introduction, it's not to either be skeptical or a believer. It's to walk the middle lane, looking at it in both ways, looking at it through multiple different lenses, and that's what I wanted people to take from it. I didn't want people to think, oh well, he's an oxymoron because he talks about Jesus, he talks about demons, and he's right in how it doesn't exist. Yeah, it might
Right.
skirt upon that and say this is a possible explanation, but this is why you can be a believer as well because hell, it's spread throughout cultures. It's this or that. It doesn't take away from the personal experience. Science can't
Yes.
unfortunately solve everything, but I think so. I think I painted that, and hopefully that you agree. But I
Yeah.
try to keep it open ended, where I looked at multiple different things without trying to pick sides. And I know somebody said to me as well, I wish I got to hear more of your opinion. I was like, but that's not what the book's about. It's not about my opinion.
Yeah.
I littered some of that throughout here or there, but I try to keep it unbiased as possible.
Yeah, I really didn't get you. I really didn't get that your opinion
appreciate
coming
it.
through in it at all,
Appreciate it.
honestly. And I was kind of surprised by that. Like I actually, this was an unexpected book for me.
Oh,
It's not what I expected,
okay.
but you can, if you ever meet my husband, you can ask him. I was like, this is so good. I
Okay.
was like, I'm sitting there in the kitchen reading it going, I really like this book because of that reason, because you kind of did take yourself out of it a little bit and you didn't, you explained things that appeal to me as a paranormal investigator. Like people start with science or people end up at science or people start with hauntings. Like face it, we go to haunted places. We start with haunted, right? And I always feel like, why don't we go to places and find out what we can find out? And once a week on the show, I do this with my hands. I say, this is what we should be doing. And this is what we do, right? Like we try to get to a point on a map, right? Instead of going where the investigation takes us, right?
Yeah.
So I think I really love that about your book because it goes, it's like, hey, go where it leads you. Don't
Anthony,
start out.
I might need to steal her as my spokesperson. I'm sorry.
No, it's
See it?
good.
Okay.
Do it. Please. Have you seen
Why
the
she's
book?
called a fangirl. What's the name of your
No,
book
it's
again?
true.
Somebody's
It's
asking.
true. It's
Yeah,
true.
It is the psychological. I'll see if I can post. It's the psychological dimensions of the paranormal, and I'll see if I'm going to be Victory King because that's my son hijacked my YouTube account.
Here.
Oh, it won't let me do it
Everybody.
actually. So I'm gonna put it in the
It's like
private
this.
chat, and then you guys can take it and post it in the comments for me, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely. And
For some
I'm
reason,
gonna,
it won't let me
Jennie,
do it.
can you do that right
I'll
now?
do that, and I'll do it now, but I'll also post it on our Facebook site and everything else. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Also how we could get it and everything else. We'll be getting to that also.
I'll
So
put links and everything. Yeah,
yeah, we'll
exactly.
do that later on. But
Yeah. But I think it's the perfect blend of history and science and psychology, anthropology, sociology, like everything.
Yep.
I
try.
And I think about things like this collective, I think about things like tulpas and our, mass hysteria and things like that. I think about that stuff and it's in your book. Everything I think about with investigations is really in your book. So I did a lot of yes.
I don't know how I could speak for the next hour and 20 minutes because
No, but you also do the other thing I say. But one more thing. But I love science. I have that background, but I love the mystery of the universe, and we can never lose that. And that's the word you use in your book, right?
Yep.
Mystery. And I was waiting for you to get to it. I'll admit it. In the book, I was waiting for you to get to it. I was thinking, is he going to get to that? But you did.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. The show's over.
that was easy. That was easy.
That's a great show.
I was
Half
holding
hour,
back.
we're done.
I didn't want to say too much.
Just to go. We'll just sit
I
here.
didn't want to say too much.
We just sit here and just text each other.
I have notes throughout the whole thing. I mean, I think about expecting, like what we expect. Okay, let's talk about that, right? You talk about when you go to an investigation, that whole expectance, the effect of expecting something.
Mm-hmm.
That always happens. How do we get around that?
It's hard because so many people get excited, as people that are paranormal investigators, at the end of the day, some of us, a small margin, try to be delve into exploratory research, which is a part of the scientific method, right? We really can't use the scientific method in paranormal outside exploratory research because it's hard to do so. We're not in a lab setting. So I think that when some of the times we get so excited that we're going to a new place, we might look at the history, but we also look at what happened there, why it could be haunted. So we get so excited internally where it becomes a bias, right? That we are going there to find a ghost or confirm that they have a haunting. I think the way to sidetrack that is not to be too focused on finding anything. Like I always tell people, I've been to so many places where nothing's have happened, but it was
Mhm.
still exciting because I got to check out a new historical place, a new
Right.
location. I got to be a part of history. I didn't go there with an expectancy, which is expectancy effect. I went there to just have a good time, and whatever
Right.
happened. And so I think that's a good way how you can get away from that is don't expect, don't go there for just the paranormal. Go there for an open-ended mission, right? Yeah, you get
Mhm.
to see the history, you get to spend time with company. A lot of like my personal
Yeah.
investigations, yeah, we might ask questions or put statements out, but a good chunk of the time, a lot of the best stuff we get is through just collaborating and laughing and
Sure.
either eating, and so it's like I just go there to have a good time. Of course, I'm there for a reason, but if that reason doesn't happen, then I don't go away
Sure.
disappointed, and there's not that expectancy there. And I think that can be. I think that could be something that everybody can drill into themselves. So, they just have to do it. I get it. Why we get so giddy. When I was younger doing this, as much as I was a lot less centric in my beliefs now, but I was still young and I got giddy, and I was hoping for something. That hope was there,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
when that hope is there, that's when you start to have that expectancy, and that's when possibly that bias then can lead to subjective findings
Right.
within ourselves and how you interpret certain data. I've had people show me like a shadow in their photo, get excited, and I'm like, that's a reflection.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
they're not analyzing it in the way they need to, because they're so excited that they caught something, and then
Sure.
they lose that judgment.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Anthony talks about that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People showing you pictures, correct?
Yeah. And
He
then when
gets
you
it a lot.
say, I don't know about that, that it's a lens flare or
Yeah.
reflections from that, or it's a shadow from that's throwing the shadow off it, and they get all mad at you too. For some reason,
Oh yeah.
they get mad.
Yeah.
What do you know? What are you
Yeah.
asking me? Come
Oh yeah.
on, you know. It's
Right.
like and you try to be subjective and try to tell them what you see, and they get mad because they feel
Yeah.
it's something that they want it to be. You know,
Yeah.
I understand that because how many hours do we sit in the dark in a cold place and stuff just to get that little shadow, and then you get that
Yeah.
shadow and you get all excited like, oh, this is it, and then somebody says, oh no,
It's that.
that's a shadow from the lamp, and they're
Yeah.
like, what do you know? Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand why you get
Yeah.
mad because you get so excited when you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
evidence, and then somebody says no, you're like, you know,
That it's happened to me too, but it also it's happened to me with consultation, right? Like as a demonologist, people do reach out to for my specialty. I'm
Mhm.
no expert. I don't ever claim to be. I have a love for the study of demonology, theology, and religious studies and all that stuff. But I'm no expert. I never claim to be. But I'm in some ways well respected for the work that I've done, and
mhm,
also what I put out as a lecturer. But I had a group reach out to me, thinking that they had a demon in somebody's house, and they got me involved. And I did what I had to do, and I looked at all their data, or what they would call their evidence of it, and I told them that I don't think this is demonic. And once again, I said I could be wrong, but truly, I just don't think it is. And their reaction was that you don't know what you're talking about. We should have never
Oh no.
contacted you. I'm like, okay, well, that's good to know. You guys want it
Yeah.
to be something that it's not, but
Yeah. They wanted confirmation instead of information.
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
good way of saying it.
it's just
Yeah.
sad out there because everybody. I mean, like I said, I understand why people want things to be, you know, evidence, but not everything is evidence. You
No.
know, being out there such a long time, it's like you said, shadows and orbs and everything else. It's like,
Yeah.
Come on, sit back and look at it in a different direction. Don't look at it and say, oh, look, this, oh, look,
Yeah.
study the thing. You know, I had one person take a picture and they send me and they say, look, there's an orb of my grandmother up here who was at a wedding and she was at the wedding. And then I looked at the picture and the girl had a diamond earring on that was lit. And it was like almost in the right spot where
Um,
it would be a lens flare on the on the lens, and it was a circle and everything. And I'm like, I don't think that's what it is. Look at the earring. It's
yeah,
you
Yeah.
took a. I asked, did you take a flash picture? Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So
But
it was just
Eh,
a little thing,
yeah.
and then I go, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. That was my grandmother.
right.
She was at the wedding. I said, I bet
But
she was at the wedding. She probably was at the wedding, but I
but
don't know
that's
if
what
she
you have
can
to
tell.
do. Focus on the personal then. Like you
You know?
said, like did you feel like your grandmother was with you? How
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
getting into that fight.
Yeah. And on
That's a
top
really
of it
good
too.
point,
Oh,
Anthony.
sorry. Go ahead,
Great
Jenny.
point.
I thought you
No,
were
I was
done.
just
You
gonna
paused.
no, I should I was just gonna say that's Anthony makes a great point there. Like you shift it to, hey, maybe she was, if you felt like your grandmother was there, great. It's a great point,
You know,
Anthony.
if your grandmother was there, did she leave an envelope? Some cash in it for the wedding. Come on. No freeloading at the wedding. Come on. A little cash in the
I'm
envelope.
learning
Come
all
on,
the
let's
hand
go.
gestures.
Hey, just put it in.
Hey, it's us Italians.
Hey,
I know,
Uh,
you
understand
gotta use
these
the
things.
hands.
but no, but even to take it out from not explaining the paranormal, right? Let's say it
Mhm,
is paranormal, but and I think in that situation there was something going on, but there's also a lot of times where it could be this the supernatural, the preternatural, or the
mhm,
paranormal, however you want to use those words. But it could be one of those things. But then they take something little to something massive, right? Like
mhm,
I've seen so many people send me pictures of scratches, and I'm like, that's not a demonic scratch. They're like, what are you talking about?
mhm,
It's three scratches. And I said, hey, do yourself a favor, scratch yourself right now.
Yeah.
What are your three longest fingers that are going to do the most scratching and leave the most imprint? It's going to be the
mhm,
three freaking fingers that you are
Sure.
the longest. Your pinky drags, so sometimes it's going to be a little mark afterwards, but you're never going to get unless you're like doing this, you're never going to get the thumb in a visible spot.
mhm,
And
Yeah.
most people scratch like this, right? So I said there's a difference between normal like scratching, like if you scratch yourself you'll see that inflammation.
mhm,
Well, demonic scratches are like three razor blades cutting you, right? And
mhm,
that's what they truly say and what I've seen once. But so it's like people also take normal day paranormal happenings and exemplify it and say it's something worse. It's this,
Right.
that,
yeah.
because they don't understand it. The unknown does scare us,
Oh,
and
Sure.
sometimes with the unknown, it's easier to put a label on something that you can't see or
yeah.
understand. So and
Mhm,
that's the thing is like that's why people like myself are important. Well, some people like myself are important because there are other people that call everything demons, but that say, "Hey, step back, wait a
Yeah.
second, and observe it." Like, and if you don't have a way to explain it, call another person in, bring another person in the boat that might know
mhm,
that topic and get their opinion of it,
yeah.
or pull a Hans Holzer, right? If you're just a traditional investigator and you want to feel them out, of course, if you get a medium involved, you have to know how to get a medium involved, not tell them where they're going and tell them the history because you
Mhm,
never know if you've never worked with them before what
Right.
they're going to do. So, but you
mhm,
you could bring in trust medium and see what they pick up. You try multiple
mhm,
different approaches, look at it through different multiple lenses, and then that's when you can at least somewhat come up with a conclusion. It's hard to matter of factly conclude something in the paranormal because we don't know what it is, right? Everybody
Sure.
asks me what a ghost is. Best answer is I don't know. And so but you can at least get to somewhat of a cause and effect of why the haunting is
mhm,
happening, or why somebody's haunted, right?
yeah.
Right.
So but a lot of people don't do that. But once again, it's not just
Mhm,
the having a natural explanation, which 99% of the time there likely is. That 1% people still also misdiagnose or miscalculate on what it could be as well.
Sure.
yeah. I mean, it's oh man, I'm getting older. I forgot what I was gonna say.
No,
That was
I
opinion.
like in your book, you talk about that, like things like, time in history, like Victorian people lost a lot of kids, right? They were
Yeah.
going through a lot of grief. You talk about how grief, affects it. I don't want to say too much about your book, but I do. I want to say everything about your book. I love that. That's a really good way to look at it. But then there are also things across history, right? Like you talk about a lady in white, right? There's always a lady in white everywhere.
Mhm.
Yep.
Correct? Like,
Yeah.
I love that. But I love how you talk about seeing hauntings through your own hauntings are from your mind, right? Your own mind, your own
Yep.
psyche, your own time period, your own circumstances, everything, your faith, right? Your beliefs. And that is where hauntings come from. Like I
Yeah.
never thought about, in your book, I got the impression that hauntings sort of begin with you,
Yeah.
which I agree with. But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't. They think of them as an external thing happening
Yeah.
to them. But you in your book, I feel like you assert throughout the whole thing that it starts with you. Everything starts with you.
Of
Do I
course,
have it
right?
correct?
Yeah, so like I've been
Yeah.
saying a lot lately because it's easier to talk about a paradox, right? Most famous
Yeah.
paradox known is what came first, the chicken or the egg, right?
Hmm.
The paradox that I've been exploring a lot lately is what came first, the human or the haunting. And
Hmm.
so it's like, if there were no humans, would there be spirits or ghosts, or did it exist beyond us, right? So there is an ability that we are the connector, right? As much as I
Right.
hate to make humans as important as we are sometimes, but in a lot of cases, we really are a magical being, and we can do crazy things with our mind, crazy things with our body, and even our consciousness can do crazy things, in my opinion. So, but yeah, it starts with us, right? Because we talk about dinosaurs at the beginning of the show. Who has ever saw a dinosaur ghost?
Mhm.
Why don't those appear? Like, so
Yeah.
that those are things that, as much as it's a funny topic, but it's
Mhm.
true. Like, yeah, we have animal spirits, but a lot of the time, animal spirits are focused on, like, they were really part of the family or talked about, and that kind of echo's still there, right? So I always like approach it from a theory sense, because I'm based on a lot of theories. Yes, I have my core foundation of belief of a god, but everything after that is up for interpretation, and
Right.
theory. So I try not to label things, but yes, I definitely think that at some point, or to some degree, we are the anchor. I
Right.
think that if spirits are tethered to this world, it's because we have a collective consciousness, and we keep them
Mhm.
tethered to this world because we keep remembering them, and we keep them within the confines of this world. So at the end of the day, we are the anchor, the tether.
Yeah.
Yeah. I,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
see what you're saying and I agree with it. And I wonder if that's also, you talk about a lot about near death experiences in your book as well.
I do.
And so that sort of pits us between worlds
Yeah.
and
It,
we're the connection.
It's all a mixture. Yeah, it really is, and you know it's hard for people to swallow that, but as I state in my book, it doesn't make it any less interesting, right?
Right.
It's still a
Mhm.
Right.
mystery. As like you said, I brought it up once. It's still a
Yep.
mystery, and that's the most fascinating aspect of it, right?
Yep.
We
Yeah.
don't know. We still don't know much about the human mind, right? When people
Yes.
were dying, up almost up to 1 million people died in Inquisition because they were demons or witches or vampires or werewolves. Now a lot of what we interpreted back then, beside land grabs and politics that were occurring at that instance as well, but a
Mhm.
lot of those people were misdiagnosed because they had like a schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder, and they didn't know what that was really back then.
Right.
Mhm.
And you know, they killed people for it, or put them in jail cells for years on end until they died of malnutrition. But now we have a little bit of better understanding. So there might be one day. I think it's going to not be in our life, but there could be one day, and this the question, right? Not so a statement, I believe, but a question, and it's a possibility, is one day we might find out that there was an explanation all along. And
Yeah.
it's hard to swallow that because we don't want to swallow it, but throughout the advancement of human culture, a lot of the things that we thought to be certain things have developed to be natural circumstances.
For sure.
Like
Yep.
fire to the troglodytes, right? Cavemen.
Yeah.
They thought fire was from God, the
Yeah.
gods. And now we know fire is a natural thing that can happen. So it's developed a
Sure.
whole hell of a lot through our evolution.
Yeah. Well,
For sure.
I know Jenny has more questions. That's why I'm
I
not.
do, but no, it's
Come on,
okay.
Anthony.
It's like what did I
You can
get
do this.
What?
I don't want to say too much. Like I want people to experience in the book, so I don't want to like go, say everything in it and everything like that. But I actually have a question personal to me in my own investigations, and I'd love to get your take on it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about when say a White Hill mansion? I use this is a perfect example. White Hill mansion in Fieldsboro, New Jersey. They brought all these dolls in, and everybody told everybody that those dolls were haunted, right? But nothing was haunted. There's no haunting kind of thing. But now they get EVPs from the dolls. They get, and we talk about like this, thought forums and things like that. And I'm fascinated with this.
Yeah.
And I want to figure out a way to ethically experiment with it, but that's another story. We can have that conversation another time. Like, is it ethical to create a haunting? I don't know. But how do you feel about that? Like, people creating things that weren't there before.
I talk about that in the book as well.
Yeah.
I talk famously about, for short, a couple sentences about the creation of Chloe at
Yes.
the plantations and Myrtles.
Myrtles.
So
Yep.
I think a lot of what we experience in hauntings is creation, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, that isn't as not as fast. What I'm trying to say is that it's still as fascinating as if it was just a ghost or a spirit, because that shows you what through enough consciousness and thought, projection can occur. This
Yep.
is before artificial intelligence was a science term. It was actually a metaphysical term. And you talked about tulpas, egregores, thought
Right.
forms, poltergeist, artificial intelligence. I think a lot of it is actually truly possibly that as well, because I've heard same thing. These dolls are haunted. Yeah, also like manifesting as well,
Yeah.
but projection, manifesting, kind of loosely the same thing. But yeah, I think that if you're told something is haunted through enough times, it can be haunted. There was actually a science experiment called the Philip experiment where they created Philip.
Right.
And that's a famous case most people don't remember, unfortunately. But they created this being and made up the story, and eventually they started talking to Philip. Well, and then some people would say, and this is the counter argument, that something intelligent was there, because I think we get away from the word intelligent too much. And then kind of when we talk about intelligent spirits, we tend to forget if they're intelligent, that means they're intelligent like us, and they can play jokes with us. So maybe there
Yeah.
was a spirit nearby that said, oh, let me just play out as Philip and mess with these guys, right?
Yeah.
That
Who
could
knows?
be true. But, I think in that day is the Philip experiment is a way to look at it. I unfortunately, in my younger days of doing this, did kind of pull like a Stanford prison experiment, an unethical paranormal inquiry, where I did
Okay.
make a friend believe that his deceased grandfather's house was haunted, and eventually we did start getting activity there, even though they built the house and
Oh.
nothing happened on that land. It was unethical, and I eventually told him what happened, but it was still at the end of the day, after he was mad at me, we still found it fascinating that things were happening, but knownst to that property. Like we were hearing conversations. It was interesting what was occurring. And like after the third or fourth time being there, or maybe fifth time being there, we started getting things knocking on walls in response to us. It was pretty nuts. Like, yeah, it was unethical, and
Wow.
I hated doing that because I felt like a scum bucket playing on this guy's
It's a
emotions.
great joke.
No.
It's terrible. No, it was terrible, and I hate to laugh out about it now, but
I'm sorry if you felt. I mean,
no, but no. At the
No.
end of the day, like sometimes, like like the Stanford prison experiment, as
Yeah.
awful as that was, that showed a lot about the human nature.
Right.
So
Yeah.
even of course, we developed through the APA ethical standards and
Hmm.
protocols, in social sciences, because of the
Right.
cases like that. But sometimes you have to kind of push the envelope a little bit to see what's possible. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, in that situation, he was at the end of my mercy. But it did give me fruitful information that it is quite possible that with enough thought that something is there,
Yeah.
something can occur.
Yeah. Well, it's like taking EVPs. I could hear one word, Jenny will hear another
Yeah.
word, but the person that hears the same word I heard, now that's the word, and everybody it might not be it. It's just because now you listen to it again and say, "Oh yeah, maybe it is that."
Yeah.
You know, it's you
Yeah.
could just say what the word is, you know,
Yep.
and they'll everybody believe, "Oh yeah, that's the EVP." It's just and they'll listen to it over and over. Then you go like a half hour later and say, "No, this is what the word is." Now they're hearing a new word.
Yeah.
So it's constantly you can influence people's minds just by suggestion, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
They
Yeah. And
suggest,
I talk about that. The word for it's
yeah.
agenticity, right?
Yep.
I don't
you
say
look
those
for
big
things.
words. Come on, that's
Sure.
what? It's sissy. What is it?
Agenticity.
Agenticity. Did I say it right?
I might not even be saying it right, but it's pretty
No, you're
close.
saying it right. Yeah. Agenticity. It's in the
I did
book.
say it right.
You got to read the
but
book. Yeah.
you
No.
gotta, yeah,
It's good.
but yeah, people look at for things that like certain words or responses to them. Like that's why I'm not a big fan of spirit boxes, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And that's because I think that when you're sweeping AM and FM, you expect
Mhm.
a response back, and then once again, unless you're recording it. And even recording it, still, once you record it, people could hear different things, right?
Yes.
Um,
Sure.
so yeah, it's that's a big thing, and that's a great point, Anthony.
Mhm.
No, it makes sense, and I think that's a good lesson too. Like, I'm all about the.
Did we lose you?
I think he's still there. I think we lost his camera.
Oh yeah, crap.
It's okay.
My give me a second. Sorry, my mic cord unplugged it.
No,
Yeah,
it's fine. It's
we can still hear
it's
Oh, there
you.
we go.
paranormal. No, I'm kidding.
No, I
Oh
think I thought
my
he's
gosh,
like,
it's a
okay, I had enough
ghost.
of these people.
It's a
We'll be gone.
ghost.
Oh no, no,
Right.
no!
He's
I'm
like,
having a
I'm
great
out of
conversation
here.
with you guys.
I'm out of here. No, when I'm all about the digital recorder. That's my tool. But I always say, like, try to ask an open-ended question where not even like what's your favorite color, because you're going to hear a color,
Yeah,
or not, and definitely not yes or no, because you're listening for yes or no, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But I like when people ask really open-ended questions that you have no idea what to expect, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting too is right. What it kind of escapes the time period, and this is age specific, like because it might not be for that, but like if I go to like a haunted Irish heritage center, and back when they came to Ellis Island, and there was deaths that happened there, whatever,
Yeah,
or it's just an echo of energy there because of all that things that were happening there. There might be responses, or it might be residual energy. Um,
sure.
you know, even like asking them to speak in another language, or trying to speak to them in like Gaelic or Spanish or something like that, and getting that response in that EVP, like it's hard to like, unless it's like you saying it. It's like hard like to say, well, that was, they were speaking back in the same language, right? As well. And so
Right.
I like to try to employ different languages in different environments based upon the history as well. Like
Mhm.
like French areas. British is hard because they spoke English, but like you can play around with that. There's like you said, open-ended statements, related open-ended questions where it could be
Right.
interpreted in different ways. It's interesting what you can do to like get that kind of what you hoped for answer out of it, right? But
Mhm.
You
it's
can yeah, you're going to
yeah.
be expecting it. Your brain can really twist a lot into
Yeah.
it. Like, you really want to hear what you want to hear. But sorry, go ahead.
Who's talking?
Nope.
Go
Can you hear
ahead.
us? You're
Yeah,
good?
I was.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't say anything. Sorry if I said
No, it's okay. I thought I
was like,
interrupted you. No,
no,
I
no,
thought
no,
she
I
no.
was
have to
asking me a
tell you.
question like, well, how did I get
No,
No,
I.
it's good.
how did I get part of the conversation? I thought it was left out though.
I have something to tell you about languages. So I was with Robert and Sandra Bandoff,
Okay.
and we were at a Dutch homestead, and Dutch and French are my first languages, right?
Oh,
So I asked a question in Dutch, and we got an EVP answering in English in a couple words, but it was answering correctly, answering the Dutch correctly.
that's
It was something like, how many children did you have? Were they girls or boys? And then we got back in English, like 3 boys. Like it was so astounding. So
very
I
cool.
thought mentioning the languages that you would appreciate that answer.
Yeah,
And we
for
were just
sure.
like blown away by that because we thought you definitely understood me in Dutch to answer correctly.
Yeah,
You know,
the one of the times I had a good spirit box session, and I've had a couple. Don't get me wrong, so I can't hate on it. Frank Sumpton didn't actually create the spirit box as for
no.
spirit conversation. It was
Frank
for
Fox, yeah.
aliens. But we were at a location, and it come to find out it had some history of German people, so we heard Deutsch, right? We heard a German word be
Deutsch.
spoken on the spirit box, and we were like, oh, that's quite interesting. Like, we didn't know what it meant, but we definitely knew, like the phonetics of it. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, I definitely think it was Deutsch, but why it makes sense, why I'm saying it's Deutsch is that we found out that there were German people that quite
Mhm.
well congregated there quite a lot in
Yeah.
the history of it. So it
Deutsch.
made sense, right? If we caught something, maybe that's why,
Mhm.
and like,
Yeah.
and we try to phonetically, and we did YouTube of videos and listened to like the translations of things, like we try, and like that's what it sounded most like, but once again, maybe it really wasn't. But with the spirit box AM FM, it's pretty clear. A lot of the
Yeah,
times there's
It
times it's
is.
staticky, depending on how fast the sweep
yeah.
is. But for something to come out that like clean in a high sweep session, then that's magical to me. But most of the times I won't even do ghost boxes nowadays without a Faraday envelope. If I'm going to
Yep.
use it and test it, I'll slap that puppy in an envelope wrapped up in aluminum, more ways than Fort Knox could be wrapped
Yep.
up
Mhm.
in concrete, and cancel the RF frequencies from getting in.
I love it.
Yeah,
So, and if something comes out of it, then it's just white noise.
yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
idea. Just to start to get the Faraday envelopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't even have to buy them. They're so super expensive. Just go buy a roll of freaking. If you really want to foolproof it, just go buy an actual like a mail envelope with the bubbles in it, or
Yeah.
non-bubbles.
Mhm.
Non-bubbles preferred, but because the bubbles might shut it off. But get an envelope and just get a whole roll of 25 square feet of aluminum foil. Wrap that sucker up until all the roll's gone, and you'll be fine.
There you go.
Okay, that's
And you
that's
kind
a
of have to create like an
Faraday.
opening thing as well. So, but you could do it. You could do it pretty much for
Yeah,
like
that's cheap,
ten
and it's
dollars.
cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's not a
exactly.
bad idea.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
you
Yeah,
know.
and you can make a little tin foil hat for the rest of it,
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Anthony.
you look good in a tinfoil hat,
It
Jenny.
would look good.
But
You just next investigation, we make Jenny a tinfoil hat so she can run
There
around.
you go.
hey, that's actually a
There you go.
perfect. It's a science fiction look at the Faraday cage. Why they put the aluminum on their head, right? So
Yeah,
that they couldn't take over their mind or talk to
exactly.
them. Yeah. So
So
it's
joke's on you, Anthony. They're going to take over your
yeah,
mind, and I'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
They already did.
yeah.
My
The
mind's been
movie.
gone for years since the
Oh,
'70s. I think I have two
That's not
brain
why,
cells
though.
still left, 2 or 3 brain cells. And that's what I'm operating on these days.
hey,
That's
bro.
not why.
That's why I said my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies is Signs, and they do that. And all I can remember
Oh
is that
yeah,
they put
Yeah,
too much aluminum in their head. That's why they run around the house over and over again, young.
yeah.
that's a good movie.
Where am
Yeah.
I? Where am I? Where am I? So they want to take
Oh,
over my mind. Look, if they could try. It's been gone for years. So
they were like, no thanks.
they're like, hey, what's wrong with
No
that guy's
thanks.
head?
You're going to go in my mind and go, but no thanks.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
out.
return it. Give it back to him.
I love it. Are you we call ourselves paranormal historians on this, but clearly like none of us have a degree in history, but we love our history. So we just call ourselves that. So I know you cover history, you do history in this book. I mean, is history a hobby of yours in addition to everything else that you do, the 17,000 other things that you do?
Yeah, history is definitely I would say a love of mine, one of the top loves I talked
Yeah.
about. But yeah, no, history and general studies or grade school was my favorite topic, and history is a love of mine, and I prefer if I prefer a specific age of histories, I love ancient Chinese,
Oh,
Shinto, Japanese era. Those are probably two of my. I love Eastern studies, but even like some European, like I'm big into Greek history. Like a lot of like the philosophers I love. I quote Epicurus a lot when I say good and versus evil theodicies, and then
yeah.
even Hippocrates, the father of medicine. Even he performed exorcisms on people as a form of placebo back in Greek times. So, like, even him, like, he talked
Really?
about it. Yeah. And then, you have like Plato and all those people that Socrates and a lot of these Greek historical people that really developed how we in Western civilization live nowadays. Right. So, I
Oh, for
love
sure.
history is I'm such a history geek, and when it comes to haunted locations too, I might forget half or three-quarters of the history after a while. But like I said, like I kind of hinted at it. Like even if I don't get anything and I don't have no hope, I love the history. I love being.
Oh, yeah.
I've been able to I've been able to walk up stairs and touch handrails that Benjamin Franklin touched. And
This is
got to investigate that and that alone is pretty cool. I got to stand on the foundation of where George Washington supposedly had stepped. I was
right.
just in Concord, walking across the bridge, where the first shot was heard.
Inspired.
Uh,
Hmm.
First shot was fired and heard, or if shot fired. Yeah, not heard
Yeah.
because that's Paul Revere. But
Yeah.
the first shot, which Paul Revere is not too his home from was not far from there either, and
Right.
it was said to cross that bridge as well. I was just there. So yeah, American history too is fascinating to me. But
Isn't it? And
yeah,
You got to come by us because we do
I
a
know
place.
he sounds just like me.
Yeah, yeah. Jenny lives like George Washington slept in almost every house where she lives.
I live in Somerville, New Jersey, and yeah, he
okay.
lived for 6 months with Martha at the Wallace House in Somerville. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, and we had
Dancing
later.
party.
It's a lot, but I say the same things like
Yeah.
at the Betsy Ross house. I'm like I'm sitting in the room where she
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
working, and what a badass she was,
Yeah.
like I mean she could have gotten arrested and maybe killed at any point for what she was doing. You know what I mean? And like I put myself in those situations, like you said, like I'm standing where this happened, like we investigate the Columns Museum where, the Lincoln flag is, right?
yeah.
That they
The
wrapped
Lincoln
him
flag.
in after being
They,
shot, like
his
that kind
blood's
of
still
stuff.
on that
Just
flag too.
it's like night at the museum. You get this privilege of being there, right? It's a
Yeah,
privilege.
it's wild. The blood's
Yeah,
still on the flag.
it's absolutely a total privilege. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I agree that you have to, like James said, like you have to really appreciate that
I,
we're very privileged to do it.
I was never into history. I was not much in school, but when I get to these old buildings, and that's when I started doing the paranormal even more. That's when I started getting into like the history of locations.
Yeah.
You are standing in history.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm in construction,
Yeah.
being an electrician,
Yeah.
and I see these old buildings that are still standing after 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
350 years, and you're like, wow, check this out. Matter of fact, upstate New York, was it the 76 house? And the restaurant up there. They actually started the Declaration of Independence. They started writing it in this place.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the second floor, Hamilton lived for 2 years. So imagine this place that you're going and the American, the Declaration of Independence was written there, and
Yeah.
the Hamilton lived on the second floor, and who came in and out of there all the time just to write these things, and some of
Yeah.
the Constitution was starting to be planned there. I mean, unbelievable history that you go into, and you're like,
Yeah.
who was here before us? So
Yeah.
yes,
Hey,
that's how I got the history.
trust me on that. This is coming from the guy that got to. I'm not boasting, but I kind of really am. Is the guy that got to follow the roots of Dracula himself and toured Romania and investigate locations like
Nice.
that.
Awesome.
That's an LP. I love um, that area of history as well because that's where vampire legend came from, the Strigoi. But
Yes,
even follow
So
him, I
good.
got to investigate places way older than America, which was awesome too. Like Corvin's Castle,
Yeah.
where he was in prison for a long time. I did get to do Dracula's Castle, even though they don't think he actually ever went there. But I got to
Mhm.
check out locations that monasteries supposedly where he was supposedly buried. Headless, of course. The coolest though I got to do was actually got to be one of the first international groups. I say first because I think the first American group that actually got to investigate Vlad the Impaler's birth home.
Oh,
Um, you
wow.
know, so that was pretty cool. But American wise, I think my most favorite place, even looking at important figures, but the most chilling, right? The most like in America was probably the Roosevelt in LA. Getting
Oh,
to investigate that. Some of the most famous people have walked through there, like
Yes.
politicians, movie
sure.
stars,
Mhm.
powerful people in the past, you know, 90, 100 years have walked through that hotel, and it was just so
Absolutely.
cool. It was such an experience to get to check that out, and we got to actually investigate with Patty Negri too.
Yeah,
Oh,
It was a
nice.
very
personal thing.
interesting.
Yeah, cool thing about Patty Negri, I would say she's the biggest sweetheart ever.
Ever.
Right.
I was out in San Diego, it was just me and Caleb, my son, my 9-year-old. But this was a couple of years ago, so I think he was either 6 or 7. But we went on a man's vacation for like a week, and
Nice.
we went to San Diego, which is one of my most favorite spots to vacation, and I vacation
It's
there.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I vacation there probably every other year because it is expensive out in California.
It's expensive. Yeah.
But the moral of the story is like I reached out to a couple of people. My friend at that time, oh, still at this time, but was living out in California. Laura Brand, she is the toolbox killers expert. She's a criminologist, and we're very close. And my sons are very close, like her son and my son. So I was like, hey, her son wasn't with her at that time though. But I was like, you're working at San Quentin right now, which is housed a lot of famous serial killers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But she was working there, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm out this way. We can meet up." So I reached out to Patty, and Patty said we could reach out when you go up to LA because that was the plan is go visit LA with Caleb. And so she's like, "Yeah, I can get us in the Roosevelt." So we got to check out the Roosevelt. It was so cool,
Wow.
and we ate, amazing restaurant. Talking about food earlier, there's only 2 locations, but we got to eat at the Beetlejuice restaurant in LA, which was such a cool
Fun.
experience. There's one in New York too, if you're ever interested. But it's I
I didn't
forgot
know that.
I forgot what the
Hmm.
name of the restaurant is, but I just call it the Beetlejuice restaurant. But
The
there is a name.
Beetlejuice
If
restaurant.
you look up Beetlejuice restaurant, it'll pop up.
I love it.
It's
There's
all
some good food in San
yeah.
Diego. There's
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
there's some good
La
food this
Jolla,
way
lots of
too.
good food.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's that. I mean, you can brag about all that, like you both the whole Dracula thing. Wow. I mean, yeah. We have a really good question here that a lot of people ask, and I think I would love to get your take on it because people ask about shadow people all the time, either being evil or not evil or neither. What's your take?
Yeah, I've definitely experienced shadow people. I think that's one of the most common phenomena we tend to deal with if we see anything. The idea of seeing a translucent, transparent a figure in front of you, which you can see through them, like you're watching Ghostbusters. That's never happened to me that I can recall. I'm pretty sure that I would say, "Oh crap, I can remember that."
Yeah.
I've saw some form and characteristics, maybe. But as what we interpret as through Ghostbusters, never experienced. So most of the times, what I've experienced or caught, are shadow people, and I can understand why people think they are evil. Like one of my most infamous cases, I didn't appear on it, but it appeared on my ghost story. It was called the Demon Shadow, and I was working with a group called ECPRT. The ones dealing with it brought me in. I felt crazy things in that house, and I had to get Father Bob Bailey involved. This is over 10 years ago, mind you.
Uh-huh.
But one of the pieces of data they collected was like this shadow figure taller than a door. So a door is probably normally like 6'11", I believe.
Mhm.
Maybe five. Yeah, probably about a 6'11", maybe some,
Yeah.
but they vary depending on code.
Mhm.
Sure.
But You see the shadow figure just walk by, and you can see it with shadow figures. You see the separation where the legs are, and then it peeks in. That case I believe was to be demonic infestation. Yeah, so in that case, that was demonic. It was an evil spirit there that was a shadow. But that makes sense for demons because demons in demonic lore are known to be non-corporeal. That means they never had a physical body. So a lot
Right.
of how demons appear to you is how we expect us humanistic aspect
Mhm.
forms. That's why I think a great interpretation of manifestation of certain characteristics or shadow people or figure is the movie It, right? The demon plays upon your fear or what you're more comfortable with
Hmm.
taking in. That's why it takes appearances as the father or the mother
Mhm.
or other people. um,
Yeah.
so really, like that's why those things do appear as a shadow figure, because it's how it wants to show itself.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, it really had no body at all, it had no physical appearance that we know of. But in regular spirits, I think that the same realm can be experienced. Somebody was talking about energy. Um, the word energy can be used loosely. I think it's like consciousness is a better way of saying it,
Yeah.
or maybe there's no explanation of how we can actually explain it because we really don't know the
Exactly. Yeah.
mechanics of how that works. But
True.
I think also human spirits that maybe don't have enough capability or that connection into this reality, they appear as shadow people too because they aren't able to really truly manifest how they want to, or maybe there's some law of this is how they have to appear. But yeah, so it can really go different ways. I also sometimes think shadow people can be what we talked about as well, manifestations or projections, thought
Oh,
forms are tend to know to be experienced as shadow people because they weren't fully created like they were imagination, right? That wasn't fully
Mhm.
sure.
constructed, or an archetype, right? So
Hmm.
so shadow people can be definitely spoken in many different ways, and some people would even say that they could be aliens as well. If you get
Mhm.
into deep ufology, right? Aliens appearing as shadows in with their room, and then they're abducted. That's in a lot of abduction stories of the last thing they remembered was these shadow figures in the room, right? Um,
Really?
but
Okay.
but so yeah, it can be experienced in many different ways. Like I believe one of the things I was working with Sabrina. I think you guys all know Sabrina, Sabrina and Anthony, but she wasn't with Anthony at that time. So this was a long time ago. So Sabrina
Wow.
actually had to get a case of MUFON involved, and this person was experiencing seeing shadow
Wow.
figures too. But come to find out, they might have something come up on the X-ray, or something like that. Like there was an object in the person's body, and they got MUFON involved. But even in that case,
Really?
like that seemed to be paranormal at first, but it started to peel back as something different, right?
Mhm.
As another layer of it, which is more science fiction oriented, but
Yeah.
or even ufology oriented. But
Sure.
yeah, they can be interpreted different ways. Don't
Mhm.
like once again, people take shadow people and jump to the evil solution,
Mhm.
a conclusion, because
Yeah.
just evolution. I always like to say, and I beat this dead horse over and over again because so people make sense of it. It's an evolutionary trait of ours, right? When we were cave dwellers, it was instilled into us that if a brush moved, that there could be something in there and be cautious because if you looked
Yeah.
away, then you getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or something like that, right? So it was instilled and through evolution. has passed down, but now it's precautionaries to unknown things in general, right? It could be
Mhm.
Sure.
it being in a spooky location, and or everyday life. So it's just be careful of how you know it to be. Once
Mhm.
again, not jumping to the wrong conclusion, and then looking through the multiple different lenses, like we've kind of drilled into earlier on. But yeah,
Right.
yes, shadow
Right.
people are very interesting. One of the people that I don't agree with everything he has to say about it, but but I think it's ways of explanation, and once again, looking at it kind of unbiasedly too at times, is Mike Ricksecker. He's known for
Yeah.
writing about shadow people. I always say pick up some of his books because it makes you uh, it gives more thinking, more
Yeah.
questions. Like I said, I don't agree with everything that he has to say about it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
not in a bad way. I
Mhm.
professionally, I think he's respected, and I love his
Yeah.
work.
It's your
But
opinion on it. Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
but no, that's a good author to
Mhm.
pick upon of his books and his work on shadow people.
Mhm. I
Interesting.
have a
Yeah. Yeah.
whole collection of drawings because I do the spirit
Yeah,
art, the spiritual sketch art,
yep,
and I have a whole collection of maybe about 8 pictures of shadows,
yeah,
shadow people.
Yeah.
And when I was 3 years old, that's how I first seen the first spirit. When I was three, was a shadow in the kitchen, thinking it was my mom. And even my dog was barking, and I was 3 years old. The reason I know I was 3 years old because the following year we moved to Queens. I was in Brooklyn at that time,
yeah,
and the first thing I seen was somebody walking in the kitchen, and my dog. I had a puppy at that time. I'm three. I got a little dog. She starts
Oh,
barking at the kitchen. I get up, think it's my mother in the kitchen, and a little fat Italian kid wants to eat.
stop.
So I go running in the kitchen, Mom, hungry. And she wasn't there. I'm like, Mom, where are you? And she was in front of the house doing, because
Oh,
back then
wow.
Brooklyn was like railroad rooms. That's what they called them, the railroad rooms, like, one room after another. That's how it
Oh,
was.
I see.
And then the
Right.
kitchen was on the side. And she was in the front of the house making the beds because that's where the bedroom was. And she said, "What do you want?" Italian woman, "Man, what do you want?" "I'm hungry, Ma. Where are you? Are you in the kitchen?" "No, I'm up here." So that's how it happened. That's my first experience with anything paranormal was at 3, and it was a shadow person. And my opinion on shadow people, what I came across, bless you,
thank you.
are they people that are trying to manifest, or spirits
Yeah.
trying to manifest, and they're not totally there. They don't have the energy to. So that's what I think they may be.
Oh,
But, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
one,
undefined.
everybody tells me, "Oh, they're demons and stuff." I mean, everybody looks at it a certain way. If you look at it one way, they're demons. If you look, the other person look at it the same way, oh, it's a spirit. It's depending how you look at things.
yeah,
I just
Right.
look spirits. I just blurred up.
yeah,
It's depending how you look at things. You
Yeah.
know, you gotta look at it all different ways, and you have to have that
Yeah.
opinion of
You got to
channel.
read this book.
Yeah,
That's
you
exactly
do,
right.
you
I'm
do.
waiting. I'm waiting to get some audio.
It's all how you look at it. No, it's true. It's
I'm waiting
Well,
true.
to get the
And
audio book, then
yeah,
I'll
but
get it. That's what I'm
have you
doing.
heard the theory too that people like associate things with light and with dark, right? So like
yeah,
if it's like this
Yeah,
glowing ball, it's like a fairy or it's like something sweet and
yeah,
light, but if it's like a dark shadow figure, it's something evil, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's just, ingrained in us, like
yeah.
dark bad, light
Yeah, of
good.
course. Well, like one of the most known movies to do that is right behind me. Represented Star Wars.
Yes.
That's
Right.
pop culture. That's in
Right.
modern people's minds, right? Good versus
Mhm.
evil, and the dark side
yeah,
versus the
yeah,
light side. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
it's
Exactly.
that's pretty cool.
How did you get involved with talking about near death experiences? Is that something you've studied as part of your psychology
No,
degree?
just a general interest. I think if
You're
you're,
just
I think
interested. How did you get interested in that?
because there's so many documentations of it or people talking about it. I think I gave a statistic in my book of how many people have
Yep.
claimed to have NDEs. um Not so inclined to know that off the top of my head. I think it's anywhere from 40 to 60%, which is still a lot of people. So I
Yeah.
just find it fascinating. I think if you call yourself a paranormal investigator, you're the umbrella. Paranormal is the umbrella term. Like if you just do ghost hunter is a perfect word for it. Or if you're a UFO
Yes.
guy, you call yourself a ufologist. Or if you're a cryptid guy, you're a cryptozoologist. Like there's different pathways in the paranormal. But I think if you're a paranormal investigator, you should be interested in the whole spectrum of it. That's NDEs, that's
True.
Bigfoot or cryptids, that's UFOs, that's spirits, angels, demons, light, good,
Right.
consciousness, parapsychology.
Mhm.
And that's just me. Like I really am a child of glutton, and I also I like to say, as much as I like laugh about it sometimes, and some people think it's derogatory, but I really am a jack of all trades, a master of none. I really love a lot of things. Life is to me so full of knowledge that you can learn so much every day of your life. Learn something new every day, and still not have learned everything by the time you die. So that to me is why I love things like NDEs or um, conversations about pareidolia and videography and uh,
Yeah.
photography and stuff like that. Like it's crazy. Like it people really um, got in my mind and see how my mind works. Like I'm paranormal in itself, right?
I feel
I
like we're the same person. I'm
yeah,
like eating my cereal. I wonder what's in this cereal. How come? What was it like to make this cereal? Like I'm literally think about everything,
yeah,
everything. Like
yeah,
I don't stop thinking from the minute I wake up till the minute I go to sleep about like why, but
yeah.
how, but what do you think? What would happen if this is my whole life? Yeah, I mean we were recently trying to make contact with the god Pan outside in the woods. So like
That's awesome.
there's no limits. There's no limits. Like why would you put limits on yourself with the
Yeah,
paranormal, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Otherwise, you're
true.
going to be sitting there. What's your
You know,
name? How did you die? Like it's going to be the same old shit constantly,
Like
right? Like
mhm.
you're getting nowhere.
yeah,
You're getting nowhere. Try something
When I
new.
first got into this paranormal stuff back in the 70s, trying to investigate and stuff, there was no specialty. I
yeah.
mean, okay, you had you people like the Warrens back then, and a couple other people, but
Hans Holzer, Harry Price.
how
Yeah,
how hosted,
Yeah,
but
Hans
it was
Holzer.
like they had their little things going. But nowadays, everybody's a specialty.
yeah,
You know, yeah, I
Right.
do only EVPs. I only do spirit box. I only do, you know, I you got to look at it and come all different ways.
yeah,
And I mean, that's the whole thing. It's becoming this whole industry, I should say, like the paranormal field is becoming more of a. Everybody needs to have a title. You
Right.
know,
yeah,
Or
everybody
a
needs a
focus.
title
Yeah.
to identify. Oh, this
yeah,
is what I do. You don't need a title. It's when I
yeah,
got into it. Like I said, I said a million times when I first got in, it was called the supernatural. It wasn't even called the paranormal.
yeah,
That
I
came
love that
later on
word.
after the shows. The shows changed all the names, and everybody has to have
yeah,
identity as a specific thing in the paranormal. And you can't. You should look at it, and you should be able to do, like you said, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. That's the way we should be,
yeah,
because we should look at it all different ways, not that one specific way. It's like that horse
Yeah.
that has the thing on his eyes that has to go straight. No,
Yeah.
we should look all take everything in. Like she was looking for what was it, Pan, the spirit,
Yeah. It was Richard Marcella and I. We were.
yeah.
Yeah.
You should look at it all different ways. If you go to a location, you might go there for spirits and see it, think you're seeing a UFO in the sky, or maybe some cryptics. So I mean, you're into it. You should be open minded to everything,
yeah.
Yeah.
because that's how we learn. You have to be
Yeah.
open minded.
Don't get me wrong, too. I agree with probably 99% of what you just said, but I definitely think people will focus on things because you think about it,
Right.
right? You said you're an electrician. I work in construction too. My focus is HVAC and plumbing. I've been doing that over a
Mm-hmm.
decade. I'm a project manager now. I don't really work in the field anymore, but I
Are you
did.
one of those?
And
project
so,
managers.
but but still, at the end of the day, as we, in normal day life, we have focuses, right? People are doctors,
Sure.
people are um freaking electricians, they are plumbers, they're firefighters. So I think people are automatically are like that. So when they get into a hobby, like if you get into a hobby and play hockey, you're left wing, right wing, center,
Of course.
you're the defense, you're the goalie. So even in like hobbies, we all have positions. So I think that the
Mhm.
focus isn't a bad thing. Like I could say I'm an oxymoron and I agree with you, but I'm a demonologist. That's what people know me as, right? So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
focus, but it's a love. And if I had to pick anything, I could be an ITC guy. I
Mhm.
could be a UFO guy because I have probably very similar knowledge in those topics than
Yeah.
those people do. But
Right.
those people do know a little bit or a lot more than me at times as well because they're doing it every day, right?
Yeah.
With demonology, I'm not doing it every day, matter of fact, but I do it every day, in like an analogy sense, right?
Yeah.
That's the focus I do to help people. And I think that there's focus that ain't bad. And I just think sometimes like the titles do get a little silly. Like I just don't like the big thing is demonology, right? A lot of people say they're a demonologist, but they really don't have the theological training. They don't
Hmm.
have a degree. They might push a cart at Walmart, and then they're the person that's trying to tell you about demonology, which is never wrong. Doesn't matter what you do. You could be the most smartest person, but
Right.
like, what are their credentials? What it involve?
Right.
That's why, like, if I go to ITC people, it'll be people that have a communication degree, have worked with audio in their time and production, and know
Hmm.
how to interpret audio, right? So, like,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
people are specialized in ITC. So people do tend to implement, like, I bet you with your construction, I know I do, being in the field. I've been in some of the oldest homes in New England, either renovating them or
Hmm.
restoring them. And so I know as well. I put a lot of my analytical, critical thinking skills into the paranormal as well. Like, is the infiltration of air? Is
Right.
there this, that, and that? Even in demonic cases, like, what could be the psychological ramifications of it with my degree program. Like, I look at, like, what mental state are they in, what is the trauma. And I've come to find out with most of my, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, no,
Want to hear
I'm
it.
rolling with
no,
thought
not at
here.
all. This is good. This is what we want to
is
talk about.
is that
Hmm.
most demonic cases, if not all of them, and I've only handled less than a dozen, so not a lot of them. But in those cases, trauma is prevalent with the people being affected or the person
Right.
being affected the most. So if you look back at a lot of things and you look at certain focuses, you can pull out grains of the why things are happening. But so I agree, like I said, 99%, Anthony. But I think
Hmm.
that some focus is needed for specific people, like because we have like Charles Dickens, right? uh, Started really kind of getting the analytical thought pattern, and when it comes to the paranormal, he was a member of the Ghost Club in the late 1800s, and
Yep.
a lot of his literature is actually ghost stories, right?
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol is
Yeah.
the most famous known of his, but
Right.
he also wrote in pamphlet series as well, and he
Yes.
wrote in the Haunted House, and he talks about, like, a haunting being of the human element. Once again, he thought that thought pattern that got people like uh, J.B. Ryan and Arthur Conan Doyle all
Yeah.
kind of like started, because Arthur Conan Doyle was a psychical research member at the same time
Huge.
frame.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people got a lot of different focus and thought patterns into it. Like, I like to say a lot lately, because I think he escapes, as much as I loved Tesla more, Nikolai Tesla, but even
Hmm.
Edison. Um, Edison is that he thought consciousness to be life units, and when people die, these life units linger. And he even tried to create the spirit phone, which it wasn't like in a spirit box, but it was more so to try to talk to that consciousness, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
so, like, a lot of these people created focus in specific fields. Like that was his focus, having a device that can communicate to spirits. He started that.
Yeah.
Charles Dickens kind of started like, not in the modern sense. There was Greek philosophers and stuff that talked about it. But you had a lot of these people create specific focuses or usages of certain things, and some
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
specialized in those, in their everyday life, right? So
Right.
I think it's important to look at that too. Like, what is there? What I was going to say as my final statement is like what drives me up the wall is when people call themselves parapsychologists but don't have a psychology degree. Like
Mhm.
that makes me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like,
Yeah.
like how you a
You're just a para
parapsychologist?
and
Yeah,
not
how
the
you the
psychology.
parapsychologist when you have psychologist in your name, but you don't
Wait,
have a
really?
psychology degree? Yeah, there's bunch of people that call themselves
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have
parapsychologists.
never
There's a lot
heard
out
that. I have never heard that. I
there.
always assumed they had a psychology degree.
Yeah,
That's
no.
like straight
Well,
up Ghostbusters. That's like
so
Bill
yeah,
Murray. I'm a
some people
parapsychologist.
some people are doctors, but in reality, they don't have a psychology background. There
Mhm.
are a lot of
Really?
programs out there that you can pay for a 6-week program and then become a doctor of parapsychology,
I
and
did
that's
not
where
know this.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
so there are programs and there are people utilizing that because I'm not saying that they're using it as like something as malice, but they might really truly be gullible enough that
Mhm.
after taking that 6-week program, they are a doctor in parapsychology, but they never once had a psychology background. Like same thing. What as much as I love the study of parapsychology, like J.B. Ryan didn't have a psychology background. He had a doctorate in botany, which is plants. That was
Yeah.
his doctorate degree was in botany. So and he kind of formulated that possibly that parapsychology exists, telepathy and psychokinesis and stuff like that. But once again, he didn't have so you could say from the beginning it really wasn't centered on psychology, even though he did get an honorary degree and did lead a unit at a university. But still, like
What?
most people don't know about JP
I
Ryan.
did
Like
not know that. I did
everybody
not
hears
know.
about Ryan, but they don't know actually it's like what really got him into it, which is
I
fascinating.
didn't. I actually didn't know that, and
Yeah,
I just assumed that he had a background in psychology, and I didn't. I
not
don't know
initially,
anyone
no,
who.
no,
Oh my goodness! I
Mhm.
and I. I always assume if someone says parapsychologist that they have that psychology is their entire background,
Mhm.
no,
and the para just gets added on. Because really
no,
it's psychology, right? Like
yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty much psychology, right?
yeah,
Um. Wow. So
Yeah, I
we
mean,
in the
like you're
time we
right
have
with
left.
the demonology with people that they read a book or they take that small, a
Right.
small
Right.
course, and they're demonologists, and like you went through years of study
Yeah.
for it.
yeah. I'm still
You
Well,
studying
went
every
through
day.
years. I
I
remember
would think.
before you even got your collar, you know,
Yep.
and you were still studying on it. And I have people that, oh yeah, I'm a demonologist. Yeah, I took a course or I read this book and I studied the book. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
You know.
yeah. I I taught. So I worked for a legitimate parapsychology group out of New England and Canada, PPRI, Elian Van Hoosen. Very great dude. He has a psychology background, law enforcement background. But the moral of the story of that is that I did they teach classes, right? You got to pay for them because they have to sustain paying for a thing.
Mm,
Elliot's discharged from the law enforcement and stuff like that. So
Sure.
he has to he has a family. Yes, so if he wants people to teach, like they need to sustain it. But I
mm,
I would teach a demonology class. That was, I think, 4 or 5 weeks long, and they took a test at the end of the day. But I always said that to them, and I was transparent with them. Taking this class after 4 or 5 weeks doesn't make you a demonologist. It just
No.
makes you either. And what's funny about it is most people don't find it fascinating. It is boring. It is a boring study initially, but I always say the true demonologist will come from this because it will instill a fire with you that this is what you're meant to do, or
Right.
what you believe to call to be do. But I would say 9 out of 10 times, most people drop away from it and don't do it. Like I do free mentorships as well outside of that when I was doing that. I have taught countless of people, that last months, years, and then they eventually jump ship because it's a slow grind, right? I've been probably in the demonology realm of it as long as I've been interested in the paranormal, but physically applied, it's been probably about 15 years. So,
Mhm.
but I keep studying every day, keep learning new things, keep looking at things that we find to be new. But I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest with you. But
No,
yeah,
you don't have
um,
to
the-
go anywhere. We just want to hear what you have to say.
but demonology is, it, it has a high ratio of being dropouts, and
Right.
but like taking a 4-week course is not going to make you a demonologist. It's
Mhm.
time, experience. I still have a lot to learn, and that's the mindset you need to have. But yeah, people take
Right.
these courses and then they're this, then that. It drives me up the wall. But I
Right. Then
also
they're done.
I have to be
Right. Like,
respectable. Yeah.
yeah.
What just angers me though is when you have people that are demonologists going in people's houses and they're making their lives worse. That's what I dislike. I hate when people are
Mhm.
are believing they're doing what's right, but they read that book or two and now they're an exorcist or they're a
Right.
demonologist or they're a parapsychologist, and they're doing these heinous things to people unbeknownst to what their intent is.
Mhm.
Like they might be trying to
Right.
do good, but they're just not doing good. They're making it worse. And I'll even admit, even a couple of my cases in my youth doing this, other people had to get involved because I fumbled the bag. I didn't do everything I could have, or I just had to move on from it because it was just drawing too much time from my life. But yeah, you have to do that as well. But yeah, like I said, if you're
Yeah.
interested, yeah, I give free mentorship. It's a slow burn because it's your pace. I give you books to read, and we do a question and answer kind of thing, and you pick my
Mhm.
mind, and I pick your mind, and if you really want to be a demonologist, we get in deep, like why you want to do this, what's your faith, like
That's
it's
good.
really a journey, I like to say, but a lot of people jump off the journey because it really is, at the end of the day, a lot to take in. And
Sure.
as much as demonology can be exhilarating, it is, there's a lot of boringness to it.
It's a lot
Mhm.
of study, I'm sure. Like
It is.
I can imagine people think it's so sexy, and then when it's not, when you're actually studying,
Yeah.
it's not so
Mhm.
sexy, right? Like anything
Yeah.
worth doing, it's not always exciting,
It's not
right?
glamorous. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And I love one thing you just said. You were talking about, making mistakes, because I feel like I get called in, right? Like I have currently a private case in Maryland that I'm working on, and it gives me a little bit of anxiety because I'm like, okay, I just want to, I bring in people because I don't know everything, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, like, you can make mistakes, but I think if you know that, right? And I always worry, like, I can't mess up. This is a family,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I
Mhm.
think you do your best. You bring in people when you don't know. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Like you said, the first person I would always turn to is a psychologist if
Yeah.
I thought there were issues there. I
Hmm.
think psychology is, such a huge part of what we do. It's a
Yeah.
massive part, if not entirely, really what we do,
Mhm.
Um, it's involved in every aspect of hauntings and things like that, in my opinion. So,
No, I wholeheartedly agree too.
yeah,
We're talking about how we like approach investigating, how we, how our mindset is to get rid of the expectancy effect. The same
yeah,
thing how I handle clients is, I go there without expectancy and I go there unbiased. I go there to make the family feel, yeah, I want to either prove or disprove their claims, but without being biased. But
right.
I truly am just going there to observe. A lot of the times I'll make them laugh. I'll be comedic. I'll try to bring levity to the situation,
Yeah,
and that's what I do. And then I do my thing, right? I don't go there making it about the paranormal. Yeah, we do our walkthrough. We do this or that. We talk about some questions about, but I try to generally keep it open ended, and I bring levity to it. I want them to
right,
have a good time and a bad time, right?
Mhm.
And I want them to remember me and say, well, this guy helped me. He wasn't serious. He didn't charge me. He did this, that, he took
Mhm.
care of us. And that didn't happen all the time. There's people that unfortunately didn't listen to me and I walked away and then I am the a-hole because, there's only so much times you can lead a horse to water without the horse drinking it,
Right.
where you
Mhm.
just
Right.
say, this horse is done. It's not going to gallop anymore.
Yep.
Um, but that's the thing about residential cases. You have to definitely look at it a different way, and I think
Yeah.
that's why, once again, to plug my book one more time, if you
There
do
you go.
Yeah.
residentials, this
Yeah.
book is a great primer of
It
understanding the
is.
human psyche.
Yeah. Well, matter of
It
fact,
really
we
is.
really got like 10 minutes left. So I want you to plug everything you can so we could
Yeah.
how can we contact you to get the book and where they can and anything you have coming up that you want to plug also.
Yeah. What's coming
Yes,
up for you?
nothing, to be honest with you.
I love it.
I have, of
A
course,
break.
Halloween, the psychological dimensions of the paranormal by James Anito and forward by Ron Yacovetti. I think the link
Perfect.
was posted in the comments. If not, hopefully, go back
I'm
to
gonna
that.
do it
And
now.
it's on Amazon or it's on my website. Direct link on the books tab. It is jamesanito.com. So my name right there. The Italian name. Two N's, two T's, and an O,
I love it.
ANNITTO. So jamesnito.com, or if it's easier for you not to spell my name, demonology.org.
I,
Demonology.org also links to my website. You can buy the book there. As far as events and stuff like that, not yet. I do. I am looking at a slow pace. I don't expect to jump full hurdle back in because I did make promises to my family, and I want to see my kids grow, and I don't want to be traveling
Mhm.
as much as I did, unless it's emergencies for cases and stuff, which my family's understanding of because they know that's my vocation.
right.
If you want a signed copy, you can also reach through my website. If you want to sign copy it, you can read it, mail it back. I'll cover the shipping and handling one way. But yeah, reach out to me for a signed copy, jamesanito.com, or on Facebook, James Anito. And most likely, you'll get the best updates from me on Facebook. That's the only social media platform I have. So if you want to add me on Facebook, once again, the same name. Also, my website links to my Facebook. You can do so. That's really all I'll have to say. Oh, and like 2026, look forward on, once again, it would be announced on my social media when the release date of my second book, History of Demonology,
I love it.
is out for release, which the
Mhm.
forward by that is Keith Johnson.
Oh, nice.
Okay, Keith.
Yes.
Very nice. I don't
Um,
think if I asked you to sign my book, there'd be any room since I wrote in it. I'm gonna have to buy
Well,
another one.
we might have to get you a new copy. I'll cover it and I'll sign it for you.
No, I feel like I need another copy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you.
Because even on the first, look at this. I even wrote on like the first pages. So bad.
So, can I ask you out of what if you had to pick one part, like out of the three parts of that
Oh
book, because
my
it's a three-part
God.
book.
You're not
What
gonna
was your
ask me
favorite?
that.
What was your favorite section?
I dog-eared it, so I'm gonna tell you what chapter it was. It was, hold on. Well, it's basically what I just said about archetypes. We were just talking about this. This one, chapter 6.
Chapter 6, which is part one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
collective unconscious
Yes.
and the yeah.
Jungian theory. Yep.
I'm a big young. By the way, I'm a Tesla girl, and my background's chemistry and physics. So yeah,
Oh, I'll have
I'm
to
a
pick your
Tesla
mind.
girl and
Mhm.
Also a young girl. So I love
Oh
that
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, chapter. This is the one that I dog-eared. I loved. I read it a couple times. Very good.
Oh yeah, Jung and Freud and all that stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting. They were very
exactly.
anecdotal thinkers of our time, but a lot of what they, at least with Jung, is starting to come to fruition. Like guys, something you would know then is with his idea of collective unconsciousness. Now we're understanding that to be genetic memories,
Right.
which is
Which
fascinating.
is it's that we could go down that rabbit hole for hours.
That's
Definitely.
an L love of mine. Like
It's a
one
rabbit
of
hole.
the crazy things I know we got like 5 minutes, but for
No, it's
people
good. Go.
to look into, what also has a lot to do with this, I didn't talk in my book, is chronobiology with circadian rhythms. That
Oh,
also another interesting thing to look at. Chronobiology with circadian rhythms.
wow.
Yeah. Like it's fun. It's funny that like at 10 o'clock, automatically, if you're an average person, at ten
Yeah.
o'clock, melatonin is automatically released. And you know what releases melatonin? It's the pineal gland, which also is known for the third eye throughout most culture, starting from Hinduism. So it's interesting, chronobiology and the circadian rhythm of how your body
Yes.
reacts at certain times of the day. But yeah, getting into all Jungian theory and anecdotal stuff and
We-
philosophy, you can just go down a rabbit hole.
You're going to have to come back. We're going to have to do some of these because I feel like this is the fastest 2 hours yet. I mean, we say that a lot because we have amazing guests on our show, but you're amazing. And this has felt like it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad.
thank you for
I'm glad you
entertaining
came
all my
on tonight.
questions.
I bet you had more questions, Jenny, but I
I
talk
have like
a lot.
25 more.
So.
It's like he knows me so well. It's like we've known each other for 20 years.
It's like,
Yeah, maybe 50. Yeah.
yeah, I know
I
she
have,
has
like,
more questions.
Question
We need
marks, exclamation
another 2
marks.
hours for her questions.
Seriously, sorry,
You know,
Anthony.
we
You've
had
been
it
very
great.
patient with
You know,
me.
Hey, I could take them. That's the thing is I go on too many tangents because like once again, like
I love tangents.
as I hate to be I don't want to get political here, so please, I know he's not the greatest of people, but we talk about Tesla, like Nikolai Tesla, like my mind works. I'm not autistic or on the spectrum that I know of, but like my mind works like Elon Musk's, like in the sense of
Uh-huh.
how he kind of communicates to people,
Yeah.
because like he starts talking about one thing, then switches to another topic, like in random,
Yeah.
and like or thinking of something, he goes down that rabbit hole of a tangent. Like, of course, there's other people that have spoken through him like time, but as recent ways, that's how I get excited about things, and then I jump to the next thing, like, or it
Oh,
leads
sure.
to that. But so I know that also, like, you probably could get 25 questions in, but I'm just like, yeah, angels and tangents. I love it.
And I
My
would,
next
yeah.
book, as my next
Mhm.
book, Mary. Thank you.
I love that. That's a good one. That's a great title. There you go. Yeah, trust me. This is why I don't sleep because it's like
I hate
3
to cut
o'clock in the
this
morning. I'm
short.
like,
We
but
only got
why? Wow.
3 minutes left, and
Ah, well,
we
thank
have
you for this book and thank you for talking about it with me. Like, I feel like it was such a treat because I loved it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And I don't care who calls me a fangirl. I loved it.
She's a fangirl. So
I don't care if you make fun of me.
see, now she's going to be back and forth with you on with the book, which is cool. Which is I think it's awesome. But so
Yeah, reach out to me, Jenny.
I will.
So
Really, like I follow you on Facebook. You're an amazing dad. Clearly, you love your family, and I love reading about that too because that's so important. It's the most important thing.
we don't have more time for
Thank you.
questions, but okay. Let me get this. Take a look. Okay, we got to really get going. I'm sorry, everybody
No, you're
in the
good.
audience. We got like a minute and a half.
Thank you for your time
we
and
gotta
for
say
being
thank you.
here.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I went blurry. I have no idea why my mom kind of.
I thought it was just my bad vision.
You know, what I mean, I took my glasses off and I went blurry. I have no idea. But I want to thank everybody for coming to the show. I want to thank James for being here.
James, thank you so
We're
much.
gonna have James. We're gonna have to go to his house, discuss his book, and have some pizza.
Over some pizza. Yeah.
Over some pizza,
I
We're
like
gonna
it.
have to go down. We're gonna have a trip down to Rhode Island. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being on the show, really, and we really appreciate it. Everybody seems to like you. Look at this, everybody likes you, and I just want to thank everybody for showing. Everybody in the audience, we had some new people in the audience. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys coming on. I hope you guys like the show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the network. To our YouTube channel, and if you like the show, hit some likes, hearts. I don't
There you
care.
go.
Anything. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. And I just want to tell everybody, remember this. If you're going out investigating, you got to be safe. because you want to look for ghosts. You don't want to be a ghost. Forget about it. Ciao, familia. Good
Bye,
night,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank
Thank you
you.
again. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?